Hey, welcome back, everybody. It is Matthew with Watty's channel. This is the ninth installment of the WWF LJN Wrestling Superstars review. So this is part 3 of the 1987 Series 4 review. We are looking at the final 5 figures from the series. So, per usual, we are going to dive right in with both carded and loose figures. And the first one we will be discussing is going to be one of my favorite carded figures, and that is going to be Koko B. Ware. So, oddly enough, Koko B. Ware has a fantastic Hasbro figure. He has a fantastic LJN. I've got a couple, I think, of his Jack's Classic Superstars as well. He's one of those figures that always seems to get such great figures made in his likeness. And maybe it's because with the little bird and whatnot, you know, obviously sometimes figures with accessories have some of the best figures, best poses and all that. His actual hand positioning may not exactly be the best as far as an actual, figure that you would use as a wrestler. But you gotta admit, having Koko B. Ware carded is definitely a highlight piece. This is one of the most important LJN pieces if you're a card collector or MOC, mint on card collector. What they refer to him as Birdman Koko B. Ware. So I don't think of Koko B. Ware as a superstar. He is maybe not quite your jobber, because we think jobber, you think someone that, superstar comes in, beats you up for a couple minutes, pins you, no competition whatsoever. To me, Koko B. Ware is just above that. He is not a superstar. He is not, someone that enters a Royal Rumble with a legitimate chance of winning. Someone who does enter a Rumble and gets tossed immediately type of deal. He's definitely not your tag team champion worthy candidate. He kind of had like his weird outfits tagged with Owen Hart. To me, I just don't feel like they went really well together. Owen Hart was an incredible talent in his own right, and Koko B. Ware kind of like just brought him down, in my opinion. But oddly enough, I kind of knock on Koko B. Ware a lot, even though as a kid I was a huge fan of his. So go figure. I still love his figures. I think his figures are great. I mean, like I said, the hand positioning, because of the way that he holds the bird and everything, and, this right here is more about, him coming in and doing his little dance and stuff. And I'm perfectly fine with that. I mean, the arm positioning, you can use your imagination and pretend like his hands are facing forward, whatever, and, you can throw your punches and stuff. It is still a serviceable, playable figure for anyone, adult or child, whoever wants to wrestle these figures. I do love the overall design throughout, not only to include the accessory, which is one of my favorite pieces among the LJN collection, but, with the little toucan birds that he has down the side of his pants, absolutely remarkable. And you guys remember the Raider Nation custom Koko B. Ware figure that I have, which is possibly one of my all-time favorite figures, original or custom related. I should smarten up and actually get him a custom bird or, custom accessory. Get him a bird accessory to go with that figure. And it's odd because a lot of my figures, especially the Hasbros in particular, custom or not, I always get those figures accessories. And with the customs, sometimes the customs, like, Honky Tonk Man might come with with a guitar, but I don't always get the accessories for the customs, and I really should do that. I'll throw championship belts on them all day, but like getting the hacksaw or getting the 2x4, getting the bird, getting the guitar, things like that, I really need to start adding more to complement those action figures. Koko B. Ware, again, a pretty decent figure, pretty decent pose. Not too much to say about this. Not your superstar, definitely. But, I mean, it's a serviceable figure for play for anyone that wants to use it. The next one And another one of my all-time favorite figures is Outback Jack. And go figure that two figures that are in my top 15. I think I had Billy Jack Haynes, for example, at like number 11. Outback Jack, I don't remember my list. Not 11 through 20. So, I mean, I pretty much know 1 through 10. I don't remember 11 through 20. I do know Outback Jack was on my top 15. Maybe number 12 or 13. 14 at the worst. But Billy Jack Haynes and Outback Jack are possibly two of the most hated characters, right along maybe Adonis to an extent, and Tower City. Yet those two figures produced two of the greatest wrestling figures in the entire line. Both figures with amazing hat accessories to complement the design of the figures. Great fighting poses, awesome looks throughout. You know, he may have been like this Paul Hogan, Crocodile Dundee type of character. I don't actually remember Outback Jack as a wrestler. In fact, nowadays, when I hear the term Outback Jack, all I think is that really horrible samurai cartoon. I was in Afghanistan in 2016, and one of my Lockheed Martin coworkers, he downloaded the show and put it on a thumb drive, had me watch it. He's like, yeah, I think you'll really enjoy this. And the TV show called Outback Jack. Was it called? No, you know what? I take it back. It wasn't called Outback Jack. I think it was called Samurai Jack. So never mind. Not the same. Samurai Jack was the name of the show. Anyways, it was, since I brought it up, that show was torture. I mean, you want to punish someone, make them watch that. It was really bad. And that show ran for like 5 or 6 years or some crazy number. I'm like, no. Oh my god. I wanted to hang myself every time I watched a single minute of it. It was so bad. And I had to make it through like a whole season or 2 seasons, and I just like, nah, I'm done. Outback Jack, absolutely love the action figure. And, again, this is another 28 back. We haven't even touched Series 5 yet, but again, they always seem to have the referee on there who comes out in Series 5. So, is it the most perfect fighting pose you'll find? Your Kamala, your Hulk Hogan, Andre the Giant? Of course not. But, I mean, it does everything that you need it to. He does a solid punch. He's got a good clothesline. You can still give a pretty good body slam. Because it's rubber, you can extend out the arms. If you want to do like a one-arm toss-over with this arm, pretend to do a body slam, over-the-shoulder type body slam. It's just a really fun figure. And me, if I were to go back and make, what do they call them? PWC, I think they're called. Or PTW. I've seen it like at the bottom of the screen of a lot of videos that make, a lot of people that make wrestling videos with their action figures. Like Playtime Wrestling or something like that. And what they do is, they'll make your obvious champions, Randy Savage and Hulk Hogan, etc. For me, if I would ever do that, I would make the most nonsensical champions you would ever find. Like, Hillbilly Jim, I've talked about, would be a heavyweight champion for me. Outback Jack, he would be like a Royal Rumble champion and going to WrestleMania and being your WrestleMania, winning WrestleMania and being your champion. I would just make fun videos like that, like your people that you wouldn't suspect as being your heavyweight champions and stuff. Try to look at the shelf and thinking like SD Jones, he would be a continuous heavyweight champion. He would be a tag team, and on top of that, I would make him like a tag team champion, and he would be like probably tag with like Billy Jack Haynes, and they'd be like your brute force, like your mega power tag team, bigger, a team that better rivals the Hart Foundation type of deal. And of course, I'd have to throw in guys like Stud and Bundy to occasionally win the title from the other competitor. I might make Greg Valentine champion because he's such a fun figure to work with. But I would totally make Outback Jack, heavyweight champion or whatnot, just Intercontinental champion type of deal. Because he is just such a pleasurable figure to use. One of my favorites, a top 15 figure, probably number 12 or 13. I don't know. I can't remember where I put him on my list, but an amazing piece nonetheless. So for my buddy Mike, I bought a few figures from him. So I bought Coco Beware. I bought Jake Roberts. I gotta clarify the Mike because I know about 10 different Mikes that I deal with on a consistent basis. But this particular Mike, let's call him MC. I bought Jake Roberts. I bought Coco Beware. I bought Outback Jack. And I bought Ted Arcidi. I thought there was a number 5, but I think that may have been it. Just those 4 figures. Nope. I bought Axe. So I bought those 5 figures, and I got 5 cases with them. And, most of the figures were in, like, perfect mint condition. This one's a little bit wavy, but that's okay. I asked him if he had a Ted Arcidi because I was so close to completing the entire carded collection for Series 4. Minus the tag teams. Hard Foundation and Killer Bees. I have the single card for Jim Brunzell, but I'm missing the tag team or loose or individual cards for the other tag teams. So other than that, I pretty much have... Nope, I do have the carded figure for every single Series 4 figure, other than those 3. D. Brian Blair and the Hart Foundation. Ted Arcidi. Again, another character I don't know anything about. When you look at him on the back, I think he's much more built in the actual action figure than he is in this photograph of this bio card up here. But I think I read somewhere that this man bench pressed like 700 pounds. And if you're taking if you're stealing the limelight of being the strongest man alive, Dino Bravo, another one of those guys, bench press like 700 pounds, Canadian strongman type. I just don't get it. Like, my arms look like the way they did back in high school. I can't even bench press 50 pounds, probably. A little bit of an exaggeration, but, point is, how do you get to the level where you could bench press 300 pounds, 400 pounds? Once you get to, like, 500 pounds and onward, it's like, you're no longer human. You're a machine. That's insane. Kind of like the Bam Bam Bigelow. Same body pose, same hand positioning. You would think it would be a fun figure to use for play, but it's boring. I don't enjoy the Bam Bam Bigelow or Ted Arcidi fighting pose. I thought, who was another good one I was coveting? Don Morocco, I thought was a great one based on the pose, and just no enjoyment from those figures. Ted Arcidi, 3, 4, 5, 6. He has a 22 back here. So again, why in Series 5 do they swap between 22 backs and 28 backs? I don't know. But he is another bulky figure, and again, you know how much I covet the bulky figures. Like Jim Brunzell, the way he kind of like leans back, maybe if he was wearing like Ken Patera, what they call those little belts that you would wear in the weight room to support your back when you're lifting weights. Weightlifting belt. I can understand that, but he's not actually wearing anything like that under his singlet, so. Is it a serviceable figure? Of course it is. You can make use out of it if you want to. It's fine. It does the trick. Depending on who this character was squaring off against, if I were to redo an LJN tournament, and if I ever did redo my LJN tournament, I would not do it the way I did the first 2 times. The first 2 times, I basically squared off the wrestlers based on how I had them situated on the shelf. If I did it a 3rd time, I would do it the way I did my Hasbro tournament, round 2 till the end, and that was, pick names out of a hat and have them square off randomly. But again, even the first round was the same way. How they sit on the shelf is how I had them square off, essentially, for the most part. And that would give this character or this figure a potential to move into round 3 or round 4, because I think he could beat a lot of figures, a lot of characters, but because of who he faces or who he's sitting next to on the shelf, I don't think he ever makes it out of round 1. And it's a good figure. It's not anything wrong with it. I mean, it's not horrible. It's not a Jimmy Snuka figure, let's put it that way. So, it's a playable figure. It's fine. It does the trick. One of my first mega acquisitions on card. And when I say mega, because my first carded figures were like Jesse Ventura, Hercules, Paul Orndorff. Yeah, I got Corporal Kirchner, and I think I had, I finally did get Big John Studd 5-back, and then I got like the black card Hulk Hogan, white shirt Hulk Hogan on black card. So, yeah, I had those figures, but the first figure that was like really bulky outside of Big John Studd, that really had the weight and really brought a lot of joy and happiness to me when I acquired it, was Ken Patera. And I think Ken Patera was the reason why I was thinking if I wanted to acquire carded LJNs, because I knew I would never be able to acquire every single figure on card, maybe going for the figures with a lot of bulk and weight to it was the way to go. Big John Studd, Andre the Giant, Bam Bam Bigelow, Ted Arcidi, Kamala, King Kong Bundy, George Steele, Ken Patera, Adrian Adonis, those type of figures. The figures with a lot of girth to it, a lot of bulkiness. And I got this figure, and it, to me, to this day, is still one of my favorite carded figures. And another 28-back. I absolutely love the look of Ken Patera. So, oddly enough, last March or last April, when I did my top 10 favorite LJN originals and top 10 bottom or least favorite LJN originals, I had Ken Patera at number 10 as my least favorite figure. To this day, I regret that decision. I don't think Ken Patera deserved to be on the top 10 list of worst figures. And I think I was going to put like Ricky the Dragon Steamboat at number 10, but I ended up saying I thought I liked Steamboat's pose just a shade better than Ken Patera. Because with his arms over his head like this, he's basically an unplayable figure for me. So, kind of like why I don't covet the Macho Man figure so much is because these poses, you really can't really do too much with it. So, I looked at that figure and I'm like, you know what, I'll put him on there. And I said something like, actually I can't remember what I said, but this is a great figure. If you were to give him Hulk Hogan's fighting pose, this would be an elite figure. This would be a top 5, top 6, maybe top 7 wrestling figure. I think he would push maybe Jim Neidhart out of the top 10. Let's put it that way. But because of, hands over his head like that, it's you got to pretend throw punches, and it just is to me it's just not great. But he's got the bulkiness that I covet. I think aesthetically it looks phenomenal. I'm crazy about the figure. Another strongman. Ken Patera is a weird story anyways. I don't know if he was high on steroids or whatnot, but you hear stories where you read about it, and you hear like how he walked into like a fast food restaurant, like a Burger King or McDonald's or something, and flipped the bird on the darn people who worked at the restaurant and basically went to jail. I'm like, come on, it's like a fast food restaurant, chill out. I mean, nothing is that serious. And he comes back, and if you look at him in this photo, compare these two figures. I mean, he looks decent shape right there. He's obviously strong and built and everything, great shape. But this guy looks like he's Arnold Schwarzenegger or something. He looks absolutely huge, and not the same guy in that bio photo. Fun figure, Great figure aesthetically, a fantastic piece to add to the collection. Whether you like the loose figure or the card figure, they're both great pieces for the collection. If you're looking for a figure that's your go-to figure for play, if you want to wrestle these figures, he wouldn't be at the top of my list. If I were to use him in a Royal Rumble, sure, I would make him like a brute force that would just pummel all the other guys. I love using Big John Studd. Not only is he, bulky, but you just really just hammer on other characters, and just so much fun to use. And I think I'd make him someone that would come in, toss out a lot of people, but I don't know if I could ever use him as a champion or anything because of, my lack of enjoyment as far as using him as a playable figure. Still a beautiful piece. I think if I go back and talk about what I said in the past and did continue the list, of 21 through 30, 31 through 40, etc., I don't think you would find him in the bottom 10 of my list anymore. He would probably be in the 40s or 50s. So, definitely not in the 70s, and excuse me, won't even be in the bottom 60 range. So, Patera, good figure. A figure that I didn't think I'd ever be able to acquire because not only is the Vince McMahon loose figure super crazy expensive, but his card figures are like insanely expensive. And again, for the last year plus, I've been looking at these carded figures on eBay and seeing all of these sellers list these carded figures for $800 to $2,000 and stuff. So when you think of these figures, you think, okay, Vince McMahon, $1,000 figure, you're never going to be able to acquire him. And then one day you luck out and you find an auction where someone's selling him, and you put in a high bid at the end and you end up winning him. And I think I got this one for like $200. So one of the best buys I made as far as and to be honest, I don't think any of my carded figures, I've said it before, I don't think I paid ridiculous money for any of these card figures. I think the most money I ever paid for a carded figure, yes, the white shirt, black card Hogan, I paid purchase price. I think it was like $765, something like that, maybe, from a seller in New Zealand. So $800 with shipping, or $675 was the purchase price, and then shipping cost, everything was like $800. I keep getting a message on my computer saying I'm running out of storage space, so I gotta end this video soon, and hopefully this video saves, because if it doesn't and I gotta refilm it, I'm a man. Sometimes you'll find his finger missing, which takes away the value of the figure, and he has like this, Ron Simmons glue with the hand fused to the chest. I'm not a fan of that, but because he's commentator / interviewer / owner / occasional wrestler, but you're thinking of him as a commentator, so you're not really focusing from a wrestling point of view. Could you use him as a wrestler? Of course. In the 90s, he started becoming more in-ring active, so you could wrestle him if you wanted to. He wouldn't be your first choice, but I mean, it's something. Vince McMahon, beautiful look. Absolutely enjoy the figure, and a very coveted figure for the collection, no doubt. Again, I don't want to spend too much time on this figure because of that little storage space running out. I want to make sure that this video actually saves. So we are at about 24 minutes with 5 figures. This one went by a lot faster, of course, than the other 2 videos. So again, I'm going to end the video here. Do be on the lookout for the next set of videos. I'm either going to do all the Hasbro, because I completed the Hasbro tournament, so I'm either going to put all those videos up and then come back to Series 5 of LJN, or I'll come back to this Series 5 LJN after Series 4 concludes. I haven't decided yet. We'll see how that plays out. Alright, thank you for watching, everyone. Truly appreciate you as always, and I will talk to you in the comments, and see you in the next video. Goodbye, everyone.